Today we're jumping into an incredible story, an ancient one that kicks off in, of all places, a humble potter's shed. It's a story about a chance meeting, a case of mistaken identity, and a conversation that completely unpacks what it means to be a person.
But let me start with a question for you. Imagine the person you admire most in the world, someone whose ideas guide your life. What if they were sitting right in front of you? Would you even know it? Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we get started.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the ancient kingdom of Magadha. The Buddha is traveling, night is falling, and he's looking for a place to rest. He comes across a potter's workshop and just asks if he can stay for the night. Now the potter, a guy named Bhagava, is totally fine with it. But he says, hey, just so you know, you're not alone. There's another ascetic, a man named Pukkusāti, who's already in there. And with that, the potter, with no idea what he's just done, has set the stage for this amazing encounter. So the Buddha goes in and checks with Pukkusāti, is it cool if I stay here? And Pukkusāti is completely calm and welcoming. He just says, the shed is wide, friend. Stay as you please. There's no recognition at all. It's just this quiet, respectful moment between two strangers, two spiritual seekers who are completely unaware of the history that's about to unfold. All right, moving on. After a night of quiet meditation, the Buddha looks over at Pukkusāti and is just really impressed by how serene and dignified he is, so he decides to talk to him. And this right here is where the story gets really interesting. The Buddha just gets straight to the point with 3 questions. He's basically asking, why did you choose this life? Who's your teacher? What's the philosophy you follow? He wants to know what makes this guy tick.
And Pukkusāti's answer is just incredible. He says that he's dedicated his life to the teachings of the ascetic Gautama. That's the Buddha. He is literally talking to the master he reveres, the person he's modeled his life after, and he has absolutely no idea.
So the Buddha asks him, well, have you ever seen him? Would you know him if you saw him? And Pukkusāti just says, no. Can you just imagine that moment? The Buddha realizes this man has given up everything for his teaching, a teaching he's never even heard from the source. So he thinks to himself, okay, I will teach him the Dhātu.
So, what does the Buddha decide to teach him? Not some beginner's lesson. No, he goes right for the deep stuff, a complete analysis of what a person, this self that we're so attached to, is actually made of.
It all starts with a number, 6. The Buddha explains that a person isn't a solid thing, but is made up of 6 fundamental elements, or dhātu. And this isn't just a list of ingredients, it's a whole framework for taking apart our entire idea of who we are. So let's quickly run through them. You have the earth element, which is solidity, your bones, your skin. The water element, which is cohesion, all the liquids in your body. The fire element, which is temperature, your body heat. The wind element, that's motion, your breath. Then there's the space element, which is the emptiness within you. And finally, the big one, the consciousness element. That's the part that knows and experiences everything else.
So what's the point of breaking yourself down like this? The Buddha tells him to look at each of these physical elements and think, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. It's a really powerful way to practice detachment, to stop identifying with all these temporary bits and pieces that we call a body.
Okay, now let's get into that 6th element, consciousness, or vijnana, because this is where things get really subtle. This is the part of us that feels, that experiences the world. So what does consciousness actually do? Simple. It knows. It's the faculty that registers our experience, and specifically, it registers the 3 basic kinds of feelings that come from our contact with the world. Pleasant feelings, painful ones, and the ones that are just kind of neutral. To make this super clear, the Buddha uses a great analogy. He says it's like rubbing 2 sticks together. The friction creates heat, right? But the second you pull the sticks apart, the heat is gone. It's the exact same with feelings. The friction of our senses making contact with the world creates a feeling. But when that contact stops, the feeling just vanishes. It shows us that feelings aren't these solid, permanent things. They're just temporary processes that depend on conditions. Then he gives another amazing image to explain how to work with this conscious mind, a goldsmith. He says our mind is like raw gold ore, full of impurities. The practice of meditation is the furnace. A skilled meditator uses that heat to burn away the gunk, the greed, the hatred, the confusion. And what are you left with? Not nothing. You're left with a mind that is pure, brilliant, flexible, a mind that can rest in this unshakable, peaceful balance. So as Pukkusāti is listening to all of this incredibly deep teaching, a thought starts to form in his mind. He's thinking,
Wait a minute. No ordinary person could explain things with this much clarity, this much depth. And then all the pieces just click into place.
He jumps to his feet and the realization just comes pouring out of him. The teacher has come to me. The Blessed One has come to me. The fully enlightened one has come to me. In that single moment, he understands. This humble stranger in a potter's shed is his master, the Buddha himself.
But what happens next is just a tragic, rapid-fire sequence of events. Pukkusāti bows down, he apologizes for not recognizing him, and he begs to become a monk right then and there. The Buddha says yes, but tells him he needs to go find a set of robes and a bowl first. And as Pukkusāti goes out to search for them, in a totally random, shocking twist, he's gored by a cow and dies on the spot. I know. This sounds like an awful, senseless tragedy. The guy finally meets his teacher, gets this life-altering teaching, and then dies before he can even join him. But hold on, because the story isn't over, and the Buddhist take on this changes everything.
The news gets back to the other monks, and they're obviously confused and sad. They go to the Buddha and ask him, "This man, Pukkusāti, what happened to him? What's his fate now?"
And instead of talking about tragedy, the Buddha reveals something absolutely astonishing. He says that Pukkusāti became an anagami, which means a non-returner. Now, this is a very high level of spiritual achievement, just one step away from full enlightenment. It means he shattered the deepest attachments, the fetters that keep us trapped in the cycle of rebirth.
And here it is, the Buddha's final word on the matter. He says, Pukkusāti was wise. He understood the teaching so deeply that in those final moments of his life, he broke through those first 5 major attachments. His death wasn't a tragic end. It was a graduation. He was reborn in a higher realm, a place from which he will attain final liberation without ever having to come back here.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? Pukkusāti spent his life searching for his teacher, and he found him totally by chance in a dusty shed. He got the most important lesson of his entire life when he was least expecting it. So the question the story leaves us with is, are we ready? Are we paying attention? Are we ready to listen when wisdom shows up in a place or in a person we never expect?